So I'm starting with the AG. I want you to tell me whether or not it's lawful or lawless ignoring court orders.
That's lawless.
Impounding congressional funds.
Violates the law.
Invoking emergency powers when there is no emergency.
Unlawful.
Sending troops without an invite.
Violates the law.
Covering for pedophiles. I just threw that one in there. Okay, I'll move to the next one. What about revoking birthright citizenship?
Violates the 14th Amendment of the Constitution.
How about violating due process?
Violates the 5th and 14th Amendment of the Constitution.
How about what we see happening with redistricting that would in some way minimize, if not delete, the voices of people of color as they are going through and illegally going through this process? Is there a constitutional amendment that you can think of that is associated with that?
Probably many, but it is unlawful and unconstitutional and un-American.
Thank you. As well as, can you tell me if it is lawful or lawless to violate free speech?
That's lawless.
Okay, sounds about right, because, you know, we had to have a conversation about Jimmy Kimmel, so I'm going to say free Jimmy Kimmel for sure, and hopefully we will deal with the FCC chairman. But the reason that I wanted to go through that long list, and that was actually not even the half of it, is because since this administration has come in on January 20th, they have engaged in some form of every single thing that I said on that list, even the part about covering for pedophiles. So my question is, why are we sitting here today? Number one, they already passed their bootleg laws, and it's clear that even the bill author is not well informed about what his bill does. Because as has already been stated, at the age of 18, you are an adult. So this idea that somehow 21-year-olds were now somehow juveniles under DC law, is that accurate or inaccurate?
It was inaccurate, misunderstood the way the law works.
Correct. Could not understand how to read the law and decided that they were going to rewrite the law and mess up the law. And to be clear, we were talking about judges being able to have enough discretion to decide whether or not they were going to give someone an opportunity maybe to clean their record, such as the bill author was given that opportunity under Florida law because his second felony was picked up when he was 21, to be clear. So he was older than 18. And under this law, if you were under, 25, so 24 or under, then the judges had discretion, correct?
But only in certain kinds of cases, not the most serious cases. And in fact, that discretion was, as we know, exercised very rarely. And it would have been an opportunity had the Congress wanted to talk with the folks who are involved in applying that law and seeing how it works, to understand that this is not a law that's out of sync with other states, and it's working.
Thank you so much. And the reason that it matters is because now the gentleman from Florida is trying to become a governor, and chances are maybe D.C., once they get statehood, could have had a future governor that had a second chance. But since they don't want other people to have chances that they've been given, they want to just pretend like they are bigger and better and badder than. So I will move on because I am frustrated that we are having this hearing when we know that this administration can't take care of their own business. As we know, they recently illegally bombed yet another Venezuelan boat, and we may be headed for a war. We know that this particular president has decided that he wants to shake down people as relates to the First Amendment, because he has filed not one lawsuit, not two lawsuits, but he has filed numerous lawsuits. He filed a lawsuit against the New York Times. He filed one against the Wall Street Journal, against CBS, against ABC, against the Des Moines Register. He is doing all of this because he wants to quash any speech that is not appreciative or lauding him, which is pretty much anything that's factual. So let's talk a few facts about these January 6th felons that should still be incarcerated because they went through the process, but because they were doing things on his behalf, of course, he wanted to let them go. So they released more than 1,000 people who participated in the insurrection on this government, many of whom had previous criminal records, like Mr. Theodore Mendenforth, who was convicted of predatory criminal sexual assault of a child, or Mr. Peter Schwartz, who had 38 prior convictions convictions, including one where he beat his wife by repeatedly punching and biting her. Trump also pardoned Mr. David Daniel, who was convicted of production and possession of child pornography. Trump also pardoned Mr. Daniel Ball, who, quote, threw an explosive device that detonated upon at least 25 officers during the Capitol riot. He also had a record for, quote, domestic violence by strangulation. I'm not done. Trump also pardoned Mr. Andrew Taki, who sent nudes to an undercover law enforcement officer who was posing as a 15-year-old girl. Mr. Casey Hopkins also received a pardon from Trump, and Mr. Hopkins was convicted of forcible rape. According to court records, he, quote, had forcible intercourse with the victim, choked her to the point of impairing her vision, banged her head into a wall, and urinated into the victim's mouth as he humiliated her. These are the people that he decided to release in the streets of D.C. So if anybody does need to clean up D.C., I would agree it is this man, because he is the one that is causing half the crime that we have. Not only is he participating in the crime, but we know that he instigated the insurrection. And if I did say that I had one issue with the Biden-Harris administration, it is the fact that they did not move forward and make sure that this man was put where he should have been put. Because the last time I checked as a criminal defense attorney, and Mr. Attorney General, you may have a different experience, but I never had a defendant that had 34 convictions for felonies and did not spend one day in jail. Never in my life. And the last time I checked, the party of law and order is the only one that decided that they would be out of order and decided to nominate someone who was not only indicted but was actually convicted of multiple felonies. That has never happened in this country, and it is a shame that we are dealing with it now, and now he wants to tell y'all how to do your jobs.
What we just watched was Rep. Jasmine Crockett laying out, point by point, the difference between true law and order and the twisted version Republicans are trying to sell. She asked a simple question again and again: is it lawful or lawless? Ignoring court orders? Lawless. Blocking funds approved by Congress? Lawless. Violating constitutional amendments on due process, birthright citizenship, and free speech? Lawless. She wasn't just running down a checklist for fun. She was painting a picture of how the Trump administration and its allies have repeatedly crossed legal and constitutional boundaries and then tried to call it law and order. The irony is staggering. And then she drove it home with the most disturbing examples. Donald Trump pardoned people convicted of sexual assault, domestic violence, child exploitation, even those who attacked police officers on January 6th. These aren't hypotheticals. These are individuals with criminal records freed because their crimes were carried out in the shadow of Trump's movement. Crockett's point was clear. If Republicans want to talk about cleaning up crime in D.C. or anywhere else, they should start by looking at the violent offenders Trump himself unleashed back onto the streets. This matters because the pardon power isn't supposed to be a get-out-of-jail-free card for political loyalists. Historically, clemency was used carefully to show mercy in exceptional circumstances. What Trump did was the opposite: mass pardons for insurrectionists and violent criminals, undermining the rule of law and putting communities at risk. It's a betrayal of victims, a distortion of justice, and an insult to every American who plays by the rules. Crockett also reminded us of the hypocrisy. Republicans call themselves the party of law and order, but their leader, a man indicted and convicted on multiple felony counts, demanded personal loyalty over constitutional duty, attempted to crush free speech with lawsuits, and rewarded those who attacked democracy itself. That's not law and order. That's lawlessness at the highest level. And she's right to be frustrated. Because while Republicans focus on rewriting local laws in D.C. to score political points, the real threat to public safety came from Trump's decisions. He empowered criminals, he excused violence, he shielded himself from accountability, and he left the American people more divided and less safe. So what's the takeaway for us? It's not just outrage, it's vigilance. Democracy depends on the rule of law being applied fairly, not selectively for political allies. It depends on leaders who protect people, not predators. And it depends on voters holding the powerful to account when they put themselves above the Constitution. If you believe in real law and order, not the hollow slogan, but the principle, then stay engaged, learn the facts, share them, and demand accountability. Because protecting democracy isn't just Congress's job, it's ours too.